This is a preview of my presentation for the Human Workshop at Hypertext 24 on the 11th of September. My interests are how we connect and follow connections, how we view and interact with text, and what metadata and systems are required to make that possible. By the way, metadata I define simply as whatever gives data meaning. I'll be doing demonstrations in my software Reader and Author for macOS and talk about the relevance to XR. First, how we connect and follow connections. I'll show you how to copy from Reader and paste in Author as a citation. So in Reader, I have a PDF, I select some text, Control-click, copy, and choose Quote. Then I go to Author and I paste the text, and the text appears with a normal citation after it. In this case, Anderson and Millard. If I click on that, I get the full citation information, and this is possible because the PDF in Reader contained metadata about what document it is in the what document it is in the appendix, which was also copied across to Author. Two things worth noting. One, if I use a research document, I can just put in whatever citations I want, and then when I click this dialog, I can click to copy them into another document, and I can also choose to open the original PDF document right from here should I wish to go back. So it's important to note that these PDFs can be produced with this metadata, which I call visual meta, but they can also have some of it added in Reader to reduce the complexity of that issue. When I export here from Author, I can choose, as I mentioned, to export with visual meta, and the additional visual meta, which is not just to show what it is, gives me options like clicking on the citation number to get the full title and author names of that paper, plus if I click on the title, it'll open the original PDF if I have it. So, 2, how we view and interact with text, colors to calm the eyes, going from accessibility to personalized for all. So, basic black text on a white background, also worked with slightly less contrasty, warmer views, and colder views. And then we come on to the notion of colors for clarity. Instead of just columns of gray text, which is what we're used to, which is an irony because text is a visual medium, at least visual text, so to speak, not braille. But it's not visual on a aggregate level. It's visual on a word or sentence level. You have to look at it to get the meaning. There isn't an inherent structure that emerges. So after having been working on this for literally decades, doing colors and layouts and all kinds of things, I recently came up with just the notion of whatever text you feel as an author really says what is inside a paragraph. You select it and mark it so it appears as bold and orange to really stand out. This really comes from my own PhD work where having huge documents where I couldn't have that many headings, and headings often don't communicate enough, this became a very useful way, well, this was done after the PhD, became a useful way for me to be able to glance and skip, and me as the author can see what these sections are. When you export this, it can be removed, either just the formatting bold and orange, or you can remove this text. So you can choose yourself if you want to highlight something that's already in the paragraph, or if you want to write a note. So I'm just hugely excited about this. I think it's the biggest feature we have at the moment. And I want to remind you that this is for the author, so it's not there on export. And it's really quick to mark. You select the text, control click, and choose mark, or do command single quotes, and there it is. Right, so colors for calm and clarity, putting the last two things together. We get this. This is where I'm showing you the dark mode. So it's a similar kind of warm, light, neutral, high contrast, low contrast. So then we get to views, seeing deeper. One of the basic views is it's easy to make headings in Author, so you can instantly fold into an outline, and surprise, surprise, any marked text will be there to make it more easy for you to remember what you've written where. There's also escape key to go in and out of full screen, which sounds like a detail, but it really helps me at least. Have a focused writing area and then quickly go back to other things. Quick font and width change of the writing area. You can jot down notes on the margin cuttings, etc. Lots of features I can't go into today, but I will talk about the map. The map is based on the user defining things for themselves. So here we have a bunch of concepts related to the software. Most graphing mapping systems will have everything selected and everything connected, and I think that's a bit much. So the notion here is I've selected my name and it shows a line to my company. So I can then do Command D or Control click, choose define. I get a dialog where I write down what I am, what this concept is a person and director of the augmented text company. That's why there's a connection to the augmented text company. I can also just work in this if I want, click on the augmented text company and that loads. So this is what it looks like. So here's the thing. In order to deal with the connect and follow connections, we have to conform to established practice when it comes to being in a community, such as what we are here today. So marks have to be removed, citations will be automatically put in the right format, and defined concepts will be turned into a glossary rather than a map. So that means you can export with a PDF of the table of contents, citations and body and references done for you. And you can also export with LaTeX, which is done in this way. Because LaTeX is very complicated and template based, at least here you can copy different sections like the abstracts, body, BibTeX, and so on into your LaTeX template. Also want to mention that if you paste raw LaTeX into your document, that will be retained. So when you copy it, it won't try to do funny things with it, which allow you to do things like maths layouts in specific software, put it in here, and it's available for your rendering engine. Right, so if we're going to have these frozen on export available to view and interact, we need to look at what metadata and systems are required to support that. So my own approach is to have an appendix that can unlock the interactions by having the right kind of metadata there, including self-citation, as you saw, knowing the document. All the references to make citation trees easy, glossary is in there. You can even have a full HTML of the document to have it rendered in a different way. So you could call this a PDF HTML. Spatial coordinates for XR, embedded data, code, keywords, all these good things, including AI extracted stuff, which you can have as separate pages, which are notified as to what they are. So in the future, you can choose to either ignore them or update them or use them knowing they were made earlier. And also, going back to the bit about the colors and so on, my approach is to try to go away from the notion of accessibility, but go towards personalized for all. We all have specific requirements for sensory and mental environments. Sensory is the visual, haptic, auditory. I think it's very useful if this metadata can be stored. Mental is your knowledge, your state of mind, and all of these things. So one of the things we've experimented with is the notion of, in addition to having a journal in Author, you also now have an ideas and inspirations document where you can put in ideas you have, quotes, anything that you think is important. And then later on, we will allow you to use that as part of the prompt when you do an AI operation in Author. So for instance, you select some text in Author and you say, what else can it say about this? It will take into account everything you've said about yourself as part of the prompt. This is owned by you, it's on your system. It might be an approach for the AI to understand you better. So the future of text is X-ray text. It is XR, VR, AR text. And to me, above all, it is a chance to dream again. We had so many opportunities to do great interactive text over the decades, but over the last few decades, it's been very samey. We've run out of imagination, I think, and impetus. But in order to dream again and build new things, we must provide the data which can enable such interactions. And above all, we must move with the speed of relevance. It's a great phrase I heard on the BBC last week. It might be too late someday. This is when standards are getting started for XR. When it comes to how knowledge moves as data and metadata interactions, it is up to us now to really try to establish what it will be like. What you've seen is just one approach. It's my approach. I try to implement what I think is good. Very, very happy to compete. I find the metadata very, very dry. I'd like to do more colorful stuff on top, but there isn't that much there, so we've got to deal with this first. And of course, we will need real dialogue to succeed. No one company or person or perspective can do this right. So therefore, I would like to invite you to join Deanie and me at the Future of Text Symposium in the great state of Washington on the 23rd of November, and also if you'd like to contribute an article to the Future of Text Volume 5. Thank you so much for your time.